Welcome to Phoenix House Seminar Series, produced by the National Clinical Training Department at Phoenix House Foundation. My name is John Gordon, and I am a National Clinical Trainer. Today, our seminar topic is on stimulants. At this time, your group facilitator will hand out a pamphlet that goes along with today's curriculum. The pamphlet is yours, so feel free to write on it and use it for notes. Also available for those who are interested are copies of today's training slides. Every now and then, we will pause and your group facilitator will process some of the information we discuss with you. We would love to hear your thoughts and encourage you to participate. There are 4 topics we will discuss today. First, we will talk about what stimulants actually are, and then we will explain exactly what they do to our bodies. Next, we will spend some time explaining what stimulant addiction is and some of the commonly known medical consequences to stimulant abuse. We hope you'll find this information helpful. And if you have any questions, please take a moment to write them down. Make sure to ask them to your group facilitator during each intermission. Stimulants is a name given to a group of drugs that temporarily elevate alertness, mood, and awareness. Drugs that are classified as stimulants include pharmaceuticals such as amphetamines like Adderall, methylphenidates such as Ritalin and Dexedrine, and street drugs commonly known as uppers or speed. They also include methamphetamines, bath salts, and cocaine. Stimulants historically were used to treat asthma and other respiratory problems. As the potential for abuse and addiction became apparent, the medical use of stimulants began to decrease. Now stimulants are prescribed to treat only a few health conditions, including ADHD. Let's begin talking a little bit more about each of the most commonly known stimulants. Cocaine is a powerfully addictive drug made from the leaves of the coca plant native to South America. It produces a temporary euphoria, energy, and talkativeness, in addition to potentially dangerous physical effects like raising heart rate and blood pressure. Cocaine can be ingested in several ways. It can be inhaled. In its powdered form, cocaine can be snorted through the nose. It can be injected. When the powdered cocaine is dissolved in water, it can be injected into the bloodstream. It can also be smoked. Cocaine in this form is called crack, which is a form of cocaine that has been processed to make a rock crystal, also called crack cocaine. This crystal is heated to produce vapors that are absorbed into the bloodstream through the lungs. The term crack refers to the crackling sound produced by the rock as it's heated. Prescription amphetamines are medications prescribed to treat individuals diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, otherwise called ADHD. These medications include Ritalin, Adderall, and Dexedrine, which improve concentration and help manage symptoms associated with ADHD. People with ADHD persistently have more difficulty paying attention or are more hyperactive, or more impulsive than other people the same age. However, when these drugs are taken in dosages and routes other than those prescribed, they normally disrupt communication between brain cells, which usually produces euphoria and increases the risk of addiction. Because they suppress appetite, increase wakefulness, and increase focus and attention, they are frequently abused for purposes of weight loss or performance enhancement, to help study or boost grades in school, or simply their euphoric effect. Euphoria from stimulants is generally produced when pills are crushed and then snorted or mixed with water and injected. Next, we will explore methamphetamines. Methamphetamine, also called meth, crystal, chalk, and ice, among other terms, is an extremely addictive stimulant drug. Methamphetamine is taken orally, smoked, snorted, or dissolved in water or alcohol and injected. Smoking or injecting the drug delivers it very quickly to the brain, where it produces an immediate, intense euphoria. Because the pleasure also fades quickly, users often take repeated dosages in a binge and crash pattern. Chronic methamphetamine abuse significantly changes how the brain functions. Bath salts, another commonly known stimulant, is the last category we will cover. The term bath salts refers to an amphetamine-like stimulant found naturally in the cat plant called cathinone. The synthetic cathinones in bath salts can produce euphoria and increase sociability, and sex drive as well. But some users experience paranoia, agitation, and hallucinatory delirium. Some even display psychotic and violent behavior, and deaths have been reported in several instances. Bath salts typically take the form of a white or brown crystalline powder. They are typically taken orally, inhaled, or injected, with the worst outcomes being associated with snorting or needle injection. Reports of severe intoxication and dangerous health effects associated with the use of bath salts have made these drugs a serious and growing public health and safety issue. Now that we've looked at 4 major groups of stimulants, let's discuss what they do. Stimulants induce a feeling of euphoria when not taken medically. Stimulants also increase blood pressure and heart rate, constrict blood vessels, increase blood glucose, and open up breathing passages. Stimulants get into the brain really fast by injecting and smoking. It takes longer if they're snorted or even longer if they're swallowed. It's important to remember that all drugs affect behavior by getting into the brain and changing how parts of it work. When stimulants get into the brain, they change the function of several different brain chemicals or neurotransmitters. These changes are directly related to specific behaviors. Additionally, our brain develops high tolerance for stimulants really quickly so that later hits aren't as strong as the first ones. You need a continuously higher dose of the drug each time you use to experience the same high. Stimulants make users feel jittery, anxious, irritable, and paranoid. Some people may experience paranoid psychosis, in which they lose touch with reality and hear voices that are not there. Stimulants put more than just the brain into overdrive. The effects on the body vary depending on the type of stimulant, how it's taken, orally, snorted, or injected, how much of the drug is taken, and what other substances are used at the same time. Stimulants increase heart rate and blood pressure. They can cause shortness of breath, vomiting, and diarrhea. Stimulant abuse can also result in death, even after just one use. For example, cocaine constricts the blood vessels, forcing the heart to work harder and keep blood flowing through the body. The heart can work so hard that it temporarily loses its natural rhythm. This condition is called arrhythmia and can lead to heart attack or stroke. We will now pause here, and your facilitator will answer any questions you may have had about anything we've talked about so far. Now let's take a look at a brief video discussing the effects of stimulants.
We've reported on this time and time again.
Division of Family Services ends with a Heartland man.
But we really never talk to those who use it.
You will die. And that's not a joke. You will die if you do not quit using.
Valerie Slayton was 18 years old when she was first introduced to methamphetamine, and instantly she became an addict.
It's like a cancer. It kind of spreads through your body and it doesn't let go.
And Valerie is not alone. We're hiding the identity of Chantel. She's also an ex-meth user. Chantel was only 12 years old when she exposed her body to this powerful stimulant.
I knew it was wrong. My role model was my older brother, and he kind of had a problem with it too. So I wanted to be like him.
I would stay up 24 hours, but I was also an extreme user. I was going through at least in drug people terms, at least 3 8-balls a day.
Both Valerie and Chantel tell me they were young moms and felt meth gave them courage and energy to take care of their children. Chantel lost custody of her son when he was only 2 years old, and she said her addiction broke her entire family apart.
But at the time, it seems like the best drug there is.
This dynamic drug affects the central nervous system so much, it was the wake-up call for Valerie. She said it was a normal day. She had gotten her drugs from her supplier, and then the unthinkable happened.
Whenever I passed out in my front yard and almost died right in the front of my house.
That was the moment she knew something had to change.
I have children. I guess you just have to, think that you want to be alive for them.
Valerie now has to suffer with congestive heart failure. She has been clean now for 8 years, and she says she is completely done.
And the consequences keep coming year after year. The sooner you get off of the drug, the better off you are.
She tells me she packed everything she had, moved her children out of Brookfield, Missouri, and left.
They even tell their friends, meth is wrong. I mean, look at my mom. She's strong enough to do everything, but, her body is giving out because nobody tells you when you start using the drug that it's going to kill you later.
Valerie is now happily married and actually living a life that she now enjoys.
But no, after I left, I was done. None of them were allowed around me. We still have no contact whatsoever.
She would give me meth to sell to my friends, and then I got to make the money from that.
Methamphetamine users aren't the only ones poisoned by this drug.
And it doesn't just affect the user, it affects their family.
An effect that threatens lives and flattens the foundation of relationships. Taryn Hastings graphically remembers when she was just a little girl.
The first time I remember, I was probably 5 or 6 years old. We were all at somebody's house, and I turned around and there was a mirror and a straw some guy was holding.
Her mother and her meth friends would always go into the bathroom, and all Taryn could do was stand at the bathroom door, knock, and painfully wait for her mother.
Instead of my mother being, a supportive mother to help her, she helped her hold a needle to shoot up.
Although everything wasn't clear then, she strongly recalls the hazardous chemicals and unknown toxins her mother used to cook meth.
The empty promises of, I'll be there to pick you up at 10, and she wouldn't show up.
Taryn admits to me that her mother was in and out of her life.
What always hurt was every time she was in there, I would get the letters, I promise I'm going to change, I'm going to stop this for you, we're going to be a family.
Those promises broken, and the dark memories established resentment.
Once I had my son was when I started to have the resentment towards her, because I can't understand why a parent would choose that over their own children.
It's been over a year since Taryn has seen or even spoke with her mother, and Taryn tells me if her children were to see her mother in that condition, it would have a defective effect on her children.
I look at my children, and I think I want the best for them. I want them to always know that their mother loves them, never have to question or doubt that.
Taryn spends extra time with her 3 children and walks with them, reads, and spends quality time so they know their mother will be there.
That was a powerful video, and we can all empathize with the people who shared their stories. We'd like to take a few moments now to process this video together. And if you had any mixed emotions as a result of this video, now or in your individual sessions would be a great place to share them. Can you relate to any of those stories? What was your experience like? Do you know anyone else who has gone through something like this? As with other drugs, it's possible for individuals to become addicted to stimulants. In fact, it's very difficult to use stimulants like coke or meth regularly and not get addicted to them. Because they work so fast and their effects are so intense, they keep the user coming back for more. There are different patterns of use in stimulant addiction. The most common is binge use, going on a run for 1 or more days, then stopping when your body is worn out or you run out of money, get arrested, etc. There are plenty of users, though, who use every day. How often, how much you use is part of being addicted, but it's really what the stimulants do to your brain that maintains that addiction. Most stimulant addicts go out of control and become extremely preoccupied with the drug of their choice. No matter how much they want to stop or cut back, they can't do it for very long on their own. They constantly think about getting high, making, or stealing enough money to buy the drug, figuring out how not to get caught or how to get out of the trouble. Most of their time and energy go into getting the drug, using it, recovering from binges, and trying to get out of trouble. They give up things they care about like relationships, jobs, and recreation, and they keep using even though they know it's causing them problems, often serious problems, financial, family, work, legal, etc. This happens because over time the brain of a stimulant abuser changes. We will take a look next at some of the medical consequences of stimulant abuse. Once hooked, stimulant abusers put many parts of their body at risk. Snorting cocaine or amphetamines damages the skin on the inside of the nose. It can result in a permanently runny nose, frequent nosebleeds, loss of sense of smell. Swallowing certain stimulants can cause bowel gangrene, a condition in which the tissues in a person's bowel dies due to the lack of blood. People who inject stimulants run a high risk of contracting blood-borne diseases such as hepatitis C and HIV if they share needles. Further, taking high dosages of a stimulant may result in dangerously high body temperature and an irregular heartbeat. There is also a potential for cardiovascular failure and seizures. Stimulant use affects nearly every organ system, with the most dramatic changes found in the cardiovascular system, the brain, the liver, and the pulmonary system. More specifically, stimulant abusers experience extreme fatigue with physical and mental exhaustion and disturbed sleep patterns, nutritional disorders, extreme weight loss, anemia, anorexia, poor hygiene and self-care, skin disorders and secondary skin infections, itching, lesions, hives, hair loss, muscle pain and tenderness, headaches, strokes, seizures, vision loss, involuntary movement disorders, impaired sexual performance, reproductive functioning, brain changes including bleeding in the brain cell death associated with cognitive deficits. Repeated abuse of some stimulants can lead to feelings of hostility and paranoia, even psychosis. Paranoia with misinterpretation of environmental cues. Psychosis with delusion. And hallucinations, apprehension, with hopelessness and fear of impending doom that resemble panic disorders. Depression with suicidal thinking and behavior. Acute anxiety and eating disorders. With that, we conclude our seminar on stimulants. We discussed what stimulants are, what they do, stimulant addiction, and the medical consequences of stimulant use. Thank you for listening to today's seminar and for your active participation. We want to encourage you to discuss any important relapse experiences you may have had in this group, and please discuss any additional relevant information with your individual or group counselor. We are here to help. Remember, every day is a second chance. Be well.